Papyrus does not claim to own anything in this video, and we encourage you to check out the original works. Links are in the description. Content warnings, if any, are also in the description. So cute!
Only you can capture that human! Papyrus shouted behind me, having fallen into a puddle like a bag of bones. His heart beat with mine, and that confidence sweltered through my chest. I gave him a thumbs up and roared back heroically, "Don't worry, Papyrus! You can count on me!" The rain trickled down my scales and sent a powerful adrenaline through my body. I felt lighter than air, faster than a raging river, stronger than the ocean's current. Water seeping into my scales, I no longer even felt the need to breathe. Nothing would hold me back. Nothing could stop me. My legs stomped down the concrete, nearly cracking it with each step, as I gained on the frisky little brat. Was that human a female or a male? Somehow I couldn't tell, but it didn't matter. The kid was quick, but I could be quicker. The brat must have felt my awesome aura because they turned their expressionless face back to mine. If that punk could show any emotion, they would surely be expressing fear now. I reached a claw out, just almost in reach of the kid's scruffy little shirt, an uncontrollable laughter reverberating from my gills and through my fangs. Just before I could grasp at it, the human leapt to the left through a damp, dark alleyway. I felt my lips grin wider. Looks like this would actually be a challenge. My boots skidded across the slick concrete, and I drifted into the alleyway, never losing even a drop of my speed. Jumping over dumpsters, clambering over gated fences, the kid showed an incredible agility that rivaled even mine. I, however, felt no need to climb or jump over such puny things. With a punch, the dumpster crashed into a brick wall, out of my way for good. The gate posed no challenge either, as I simply dived straight through it, cutting through the metal links with my unstoppable power. This small human was really giving me a workout. Before I could catch up again, they hopped up a fire escape, scurrying up the steps and stairs like the cockroach it was. In only a few seconds, the brat would be on the rooftop, but I knew I could beat them to it. Another laugh came to me as I envisioned the human surprised face when I caught up to them. I let myself come to a stop and tensed my knees, bending down just slightly enough. With the energy of a nuclear bomb, I exploded off the ground, jumping more than 2 stories into the air. I fell with the rain and crashed down to the rooftop, blocking the human's way. "Give it up, punk!" I roared, assuming a defensive stance, ready to nab the kid if they tried any sudden movements. The human was trapped for sure. They looked left, they looked right, but they knew there'd be no running from me. Gripping that ugly purple Metaton boot as if their lives depended on it, the human proceeded to toss it into the air just over my head. Aha! They must have known they were beaten. I reached upward for the metallic foot, fingers grasping at air as it just escaped my reach. While I was distracted with that, the human pulled a cunning and unsuspected move. They dived under my splayed-open legs, skidding across the wet rooftop, and caught the boot on the other side. The droplets of water in my scales were now boiling hot as anger began to shoot through my veins. The little brat tricked me! They think they're better than me? They think they can outsmart me? Get away from me! Ah! I bellowed in outrage. They would not escape me. A green spear materialized in my claws, as if it had always been with me. Without a second thought, I shot it out towards the brat's soft, squishy skull. To my surprise, they knew it was coming. They skidded to a halt, the spear sending rubble and cracked cement across the rooftop. Oh, but that was just the start. The chase resumed, wind and rain rushing through my scales and hair as I sprinted after. I felt my fangs gritting together in frustration as dozens of spears began appearing around the human. Each shot down faster than a lightning bolt, and each one missed just by a raindrop's distance. The little brat flipped and dodged left and right, never giving up, determined to escape. But I was determined too. The edge of the rooftop was approaching quickly, and neither I nor the human showed any signs of stopping. With the grace and precision of a professional athlete, the kid bounded across the gap between buildings, their shoes slipping and fumbling over the next rooftop's edge, just barely making it. I had no issues leaping the distance, of course. My fury and pride guided me. I flowed through the cloudy skies as if I were the rain itself. One thing I didn't count on, though, was my overwhelming power. Even I underestimated myself. When I landed on the other rooftop, the cement gave way and I collapsed down into a room below. Debris, water, and other gunk raining down into the puny little apartment. An orange cat-like monster had just walked in through the door, his red and yellow uniform absolutely drenched after a long walk home. He looked at me, eyes not wide with shock, but with a defeated knowing. Typical. Smelled like burgers. There was no time to apologize, no time to clean up this mess. Not that I would have, anyway. I heard the brat's little feet pitter-pattering above, gaining distance from me. No, there was no way I would lose. An idea came to mind, inspired by none other than my best bud Papyrus. I dashed through the apartment, knocking over tables and chairs despite the sighs and protests from behind. The pitter-patter of the kid was closer now. Window in sight, I crashed through like a meteor, shards of glass showering the alleyway 2 stories below myself. Oh, but I wasn't going to fall. My claws gleamed into the shine of the rain of liquid glass, and I pierced them deep into the brick building across the alley, sticking and holding to the wall with ease. I witnessed the human make another leap of faith across the buildings, floating gracefully through the air just above my head. I grinned and scaled up the brick wall, grunting as I pulled myself back up into the chase. The human would still never emote, but their body language finally showed a hint of shock as they stumbled backward over their feet at the sight of me. Didn't think you'd lose me that easy, did you, you little brat? But of course they were still determined to escape me. Another group of spears standing in the kid's used-to-be position, they had bolted off again. I still had an ace up my sleeve. Well, I had a lot of aces in my coat actually, since Papyrus is convinced they're powerful talismans or something, but that's beside the point. The usual. The little human leaped across another gap between buildings, but this time I was ready. While they were still in midair, I focused my power and all my energy onto their puny little body. The laws of gravity bended beneath my power. They were green now, stuck floating, motionless in the air above another dank, dirty alleyway. I laughed. The little brat's very soul was fighting to escape out of my magic, struggling and squirming to break free. You can't escape, I told them, confident I had captured them now. Still, the kid was so determined. My skull began to throb. My body suddenly ached as I strained to keep the kid in place. Fine, I was left with no choice. I'd have to weaken the brat even more then. Emerald spears flashed like lightning bolts in the cloudy night sky, surrounding the pint-sized punk. I sent them forward one at a time, feeling my power slowing down like a chug. To my surprise and frustration, the kid was able to move one arm. The arm with the boot. They used the metal shoe as a shield, deflecting the spears and tossing them aside like pesky flies. Ugh! Even the rain wasn't keeping me powered enough now. I felt another disgusting urge to search for a cigarette as my will weakened. No! No time for that! Just press harder! Shoot faster! The spears began flying quicker than ever before, the patterns twisting and turning, coming from every angle imaginable. Yet the kid kept swiping them away. How? How was this frisky little brat so damn determined to escape? They must have sensed my bewilderment at that moment, because I saw a spark in those emotionless human eyes. One of the deflected spears was sent flying back my way, causing me to completely lose focus as it crashed near my feet. Finally free, the power of gravity kicked back in, and the human returned to their usual color. However, they had lost any momentum they had before the jump and simply tumbled down into the alleyway. I didn't want to hurt the human that bad. Or, well, yeah, I did, but I would much rather it was in my hand. I heard a crash of plastic and metal, bags fluttering and deflating as the child landed directly onto a conveniently placed dumpster below. I leaped down myself, ready to give chase again the second the punk got back up. There was a rustling in the dumpster. The kid had landed and was completely unscathed. But somehow, they looked tired? I reached out and simply grabbed the kid by the scruff of their t-shirt, lifting them into the air. What happened? It's as if the kid wasn't determined to get away anymore. They just hung there, legs and arms limp, as if any and all energy had been sucked right out. Holding the dangling kid in my claw, a dark thought passed through my mind. A suspicion. No, that couldn't be right. I wouldn't even think that, no. It couldn't be. I wouldn't let it be. It wasn't true. Shaking my head free of distracting thoughts, I snatched Metaton's boot out of the kid's hand. They didn't even bother to try and stop me now. I squinted my eye against the rain, running my gaze over its sleek metallic surface. That blood papyrus I saw before was washed off in the rain. Not a trace of the red substance could be found anywhere on its surface. Too bad. I shoved the evidence away into one of my coat's pockets, tossing a few aces out to make room. Now, another important question. Where even was I now? I nearly dropped the suddenly fragile and weak human as I realized where this action-packed chase had led me. Across the street from this alleyway I was in, I saw that warm, fuzzy glow of Asgore's flower shop / home. What are the odds I ended up here again? Unless you brought me here on purpose, you little brat, I grumbled, lifting the kid up to eye length so I could glare all the better. The limp human didn't even respond with the twitch. Somehow I doubted they meant to take me here, but I must have been lost in thought for some time, or perhaps Papyrus really was just that fast at tracking me. Probably the latter. I saw the Bonemobile parked safely and gently by the sidewalk in front of my position, my partner's dopey fedora looking damp and wrinkled after his tumble in the rain. He stumbled and slipped out the car door, flustered as he began working open his favorite bone umbrella to shield his precious coat from the rain. "Undyne, you caught the human!" he yelled cheerfully in his way too loud voice. I grinned back at him, but I couldn't keep those thoughts from returning. No, I wouldn't think of it. Not now. I needed to get out of my head. I'll just let Papyrus handle the rest.
The notepad is too wet and soggy to continue reading.